Today is the day. What day is that? Well, today is the day that actual reviews are available from users over on Metacritic. And we're going to go over some of those because these are what real people think of the game, not paid shills, not paid journalists. We're going to see what the average person thinks about this game. Does it live up to its 10 out of 10 stunning and brave score? Probably not. So we're going to take a look at that. And a couple of other things that have come out before that. There's a lot of stuff that dropped yesterday. I decided to just wait till today and include it in this video. There's some interesting things. Number one here, you can get a $2,300 guitar right here. It's a replica of the guitar in the game. Now, to be fair, I guess this is actually a $2,000 guitar and you're just paying $300 for the little bit of the little emblem. So there's that. I don't know who's excited enough to actually buy that, but there you go. But let's get to this. So this was pointed out by a couple people. This is a card you can find in the game. This is Dr. Oakman. This is obviously Neildruckmann. Okay, so this is a character card. You can collect these for a trophy in the game. Now, what's interesting about this isn't the card. It's the stats he gave himself. Dude gave himself 100 points for brains. Kind of funny. Kind of a funny joke because this guy's a real piece of work. I really don't need to get in too much on Neildruckmann, but I found this kind of humorous. And then you had this. Now, this is the big controversial thing that everyone was talking about yesterday. You had the stuff with Abby, and I believe it's Neildruckmann's insert character into the game, hooking up. Fully mocapped, by the way. Was motion captured, which is kind of funny. So it's a full-on scene. I watched it on YouTube. It's pretty graphic. This is just fine, though. Game journalists praise this. This is revolutionary. This is A-OK. But then you look to what Sony and game journalists have demeaned and destroyed before, like some anime girls. This is terrible content. Okay, this is demeaning to women. This is a funny meme, too, because it says learning the difference could save your job. This is one of the reasons, they gave this game a 10 out of 10. This is the kind of content they like on the left, stuff on the right they don't like. There's literal games where they'll have an anime girl, and you'll see the Switch in the PC version, and she's sitting there, and she's just in underwear. It's all shown in the Switch in the PC version. But on the Sony PlayStation version, there's actual sun flare, like a lens flare, going over her chest and her midsection. But a character like Abby, with gigantic muscles and so on, very, very, very small, very, 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 very small chest. Questionable if, where she lies on the gender spectrum. That's okay. That's revolutionary, groundbreaking, well-balanced content. But the 2D anime girl, that's demeaning. That's a problem. That's got to go. And Sony has actively censored stuff like that in the past, and they will probably continue to do so. Journalists have actively attacked and written article after article on content like that. But Last of Us 2 is stunning and brave. 10 out of 10. Masterpiece. Very hypocritical. And this is what a lot of people are upset about. I thought that this was pretty interesting. And it's a really fair point that a lot of people are bringing up. But now, let's get to the main event. The Metacritic page for reviews of The Last of Us Part 2. And the user reviews, they tell quite a different story to the Last of Us ratings, don't they? It's quite a bit different than the Metascore for the combined 94 critic reviews versus the 3.3 average for user reviews based on 3,800 people, isn't it? It's quite a bit different. Now, before we get into this, a couple of disclaimers. I think that the Metascore for all of the critic reviews, I actually think that will go down because a lot of people, those 94 people, and some of them I think have popped up since last night, a lot of them didn't get the game early. So you're going to see a lot of people come out and rate the game now that didn't get free copies and so on and so on. I think that score is actually going to go down. Not much. Not much. Access Media wants that access, and if they give the game a low score, it's going to hurt their access. So I expect it, I think it'll go down to an 87, 85. And I'm being generous there. I think that it'll probably stay at a 90 if I were to be honest about this. But an 85, I think, is possible. We'll see. But I think 90-ish is where it's probably going to land. Maybe 89. I think that's where that score will eventually kind of level out. Now, the user score is going to go up. I think that'll end up probably around a 6, more than likely. I think it'll be somewhere around a 6 over time. Now, the thing about covering these user scores that I want to make clear is that at this point in time, the game just released today. I think it's about a 20-hour game. I'm not exactly sure on how long the game is with the gameplay. But I think it's pretty safe to assume that most people that have put a user score in here probably haven't beaten the game yet. And now you'll say, well, then what's the point? Well, the point is most of these people have already watched the game's story. This game is more story than it is a game you actually play. The story is pretty much, the majority of the content for this game. It's a very narrative-driven game. Most people have already watched the entire story. So I think it is fair to take a look and see what people are saying about it. Also, a lot of people have been binging through the game. There's probably people that are about halfway done. We can get a really good idea of what people actually think of the game through what they're saying here. And you'll get a better idea of how people actually feel about the game based on this than I would by trusting Access Media's 10 out of 10 stunning and brave masterpiece scores. So let's take a look at some of the things that people are actually saying about this game and get a real idea of how real people think about it. So had to sign up an account to give an honest rating. Naughty Dog reached an all-time low. We don't need Druckmann to tell what a blank person we are from playing his own written game. Saying poopy person, I'm thinking, is the word that they had there. So we have this Crisis Core 20. The game is not bad because of SJWs. This game has poor contrived writing that is trying to prove a point. It is forced and unconvincing. In addition, you have gameplay from 2013 and NPCs that speed up and slow down like Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2013. I remember others complaining Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018 was behind the times. I wonder what those people think about Last of Us 2. This one right here. This is a long one. I'll go ahead and you can pause it and read if you want. Go here. The history of this game is bad because I played 11 hours and I honestly can't say this game is my type. I think that's a fair one. We got one right here. Wow, way to go, Druckmann. I cannot believe how Naughty Dog just abandoned the first game completely for sake of storytelling of full alphabet characters that can't be taken out for some reason. We got one right here. Waiting for a masterpiece, but got one of the worst games. The Last of Us was one of the best games I played. The Last of Us 2 plot is one of the most disgusting. It seems that the developers decided to ruin what they created. At the moment, the worst exclusive from Sony. My rating for the game, graphics 10, gameplay 7, history 0. Since the main thing in the game is the story itself, the result is 0. And that's what I'm saying. That's the big thing that I want to see what people have to say about it. Now, I don't want to spend too much time reading all of the all of the people that really hate it. Let's go to some mixed reviews. We have one here from Day Rider. I live in New Zealand. After playing through the game, I simply cannot understand how this game received a 95 out of 100 Metascore. Positives: gameplay, graphics, top-tier animation, cutscenes, and voice acting. I think that's fair. I think most people expected the gameplay to be decent. Though, I will want to say I saw some people on Twitter saying that the jump button was pretty useless and stupid. After watching gameplay footage, I tend to agree. And we have negatives. Characters. Character development, it's not existent. And it's non-existent. Plot, the ending. The writing destroys this game. The writer Neildruckmann says the game is about hate and revenge. However, you never get revenge. You're left with a game which is anticlimactic. It's a pretty interesting thing there. I want to point out I don't think I've really said any spoilers in this video, and I'm going to try to avoid those. So if you're not interested in hearing them, you should be fine in this video. So I want to look at more mixed reviews because I think you're going to find the real story in the mixed, and there's only 3 that are mixed. We'll look at a positive one too, just to be fair. Oh, sorry. There's 103 that are mixed. It's funny how it took me right back. I clicked on mixed, and it took me to critic reviews. That's interesting. All right, so let's go to some other ones here and see what they have to say. We have this one here from WBWJKBW. While The Last of Us Chapter 2 does offer extraordinarily good environments, occasionally strong plot, better gameplay than the original, and a brutal atmosphere, it is often overshadowed by the failure of the very thing it promises most: story. Character logic and decision-making is often sacrificed in order to push a certain idea or themes, or at the worst of times, the plot, which is the process which makes the story seem significantly more absurd than it should. Furthermore, there are a very few instances of character development build up in the game only to be completely ignored in this one. I feel that the game both tried and both succeeded, yet ultimately failed at attempting to make me feel related to certain characters who had done truly horrible things. In the end, it is a typical revenge plot with the cliche of all violence is bad. Nothing new or bold happens other than a grotesque amount of violence. It is by no means the worst game of the year, but it is also nowhere near the outstanding achievement many people are making it out to be. I really feel that it's these fair ratings here in the middle that are the true story, because I do want to make it clear a lot of people are probably going on here and review bombing the game because of the Naughty Dog situation that happened. But I think that these mixed reviews tell the true story for this game that seem to be what I think a lot of people are going to come out with, that the gameplay is good but the story sucks. I think that that's fair. I've watched the complete story online like most people, and the story does, in my opinion, suck. And that's why you're going to see a lot of these mixed reviews. People don't like it. Like lifeless and stagnant and boring gameplay, truly nothing more than an interactive movie which while may certainly be appealing for a certain amount of people, for me personally, it's a deal breaker, as gameplay is what distinguishes a game from all other forms of art out there, and if it sucks, the game also sucks. So there, let's take a look at a positive review as well. I do want to give that a fair shake. So let's look for one that's actually kind of detailed here. All right, so I got this one. Do not let the score stop you from playing this masterpiece. Our world deserves much more than the terrible politics which has surrounded this game. This is a beautiful game in a beautiful world. The continuation of the journey we started out in 2013 is masterful. Gameplay has evolved, characters have grown, and emotions hit hard. Not all stories have the ending you want, but they have the ending the story needs. The story, the character, and the world have evolved. The bleak and dark world gives you the motivation to fight in every action sequence. I cannot stress how good this game is. graphics are brilliant, and there is a great attention to detail by Naughty Dog. I request all the haters to play the game first before the downplaying years of effort to put in thousands of designers and coders and developers. Clearly, almost all of the people here have written reviews without playing a second of gameplay for themselves, and it just shows how far we have come as humans now. That's not true. Quite a few of these people have binged through the game quite a bit. But I think it is fair that probably quite a few people haven't played the game on here, but just about everybody has watched the entire game. I think it's fair to see what people have to say. And there's a lot of people that have played the game and maybe even possible got through it depending on what country they're in. A lot of people might have gotten in the game early. But I do think that a lot of these mixed reviews are where the real story is here. And you're, of course, going to have people come in and give the game positive reviews. There's going to be people giving low reviews and high reviews based on agenda. That's why I think that the mixed scores are where it's really at. Like this one here, you got a 7, right? You can pause the screen and read it if you want right there. You got one right here, a 6. And then you've got another 7 right here. Definitely doesn't deserve a 0 out of 10 people are giving, but I understand their frustration. The graphics and world design are amazing. I like the gameplay from the previous game a lot. In the sequel, the core gameplay is pretty much the same, but refined and improved in many ways. Animations are also really good. I'm enjoying my time with this game, but the reason this gets a 7 out of 10 is the story. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as people say, but it has plot holes. Characters do things that make no sense, and you can really see Druckmann pushing his agenda throughout the game. So, as of right now, user scores are 3,000 negative, 108 mixed, and 1,215 positive. This will likely be developing. We can revisit this over time and see where it sticks. But as of right now, it does seem that most people playing the game don't care for it. We'll see what happens over time, but I've been waiting for this, and I am really looking forward to seeing how this shakes out. I think this will be it'll be worth revisiting this on Monday as real lengthy reviews from critics and users hit the site. But as of right now, it's exactly what we all thought it would be. Nowhere near the 95% perfect score that they tried to sell us. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Also, throw a like up. Make sure you still subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.